Stephanie, have you ever seen a pool like transform into a movie theater before your eyes? A pool, movie
No,
theater.
no, I can't say I've seen that.
No.
Dance floor, maybe, but not a movie theater.
I know, right? Many cruise ships, you see that, but like we're talking about the rivers of Europe, and you've got a pool that is just like 1 minute it's a pool, an indoor pool, and the next minute it's a movie
Wow.
theater. Incredible, incredible. One of the
Yeah.
coolest things I saw on Emerald Cruises.
Welcome back to One Slice at a Time. My name is Stephanie Picosta, and I am a travel advisor that specializes in multi-generational travel.
And I'm Ryan Joy, also a travel agent who specializes in big group trips. Last week on One Slice of Time, we talked all about my experience at the ASTA River Cruise Expo and touring all those river ships.
This week, we're going to continue our month-long series on river cruising by going through Ryan's experience on Emerald River Cruises, where he stayed on the cruise ship during the River Cruise Conference in Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of a nice setup that you have because during the expo, you stay on
Mhm.
river cruise ships. And then if you choose to as a travel agent, if you choose to participate in one of the post trips, you can actually switch and experience a whole different cruise line, which is what we'll be
Right.
talking about next week.
So, Ryan, just to set it off, I've been on Emerald cruise ships before, but I had not stayed with Emerald. What was your first impression stepping aboard this ship?
Okay, so most of the time when you're stepping on board a river cruise ship, the layout is very similar.
Mm.
Right? You're going to walk in, there's going to be a lobby area. To your left is probably going to be like the lounge area where people hang
Mhm.
out. And to the right is going to be most of the rooms. The main dining room is going to be down
Right.
below. So, from a layout perspective, Emerald was no different.
Mhm.
What is a little bit different, if you compare it to any of the other lines, it has a totally different vibe. It's a little
Okay.
bit younger. It's a little bit hipper. It's not like AmaWaterways is this like sort of stylish in a certain
Mhm.
way. Viking is very like Nordic
Right.
IKEA furniture people think of when they walk on, but like the nice
Yeah.
version, like the hot like there's not even I say IKEA because it's Nordic, but like
That's Scandigo.
there's
Yeah.
no IKEA furniture on Viking. Emerald Emerald is just like this youthful, it is very sleek. It's the younger
Mhm.
brother of Scenic, which is a luxury line, and
Right.
it looks like, hey, I'm not quite Scenic, but I'm very refined, and I'm
Right.
here for like a more youthful river cruise customer.
So, this first impression stepping on board, did that meet your expectation? I know we have both been on Emerald cruise ships before. Did that, was that what you expected from this line, or did it change your outlook on them a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it was very familiar to what we
Mhm.
experienced, Like
Yeah.
last year, Stephanie and I went to the River Cruise Expo on the Danube and we toured an Emerald ship there. This year I was on the Rhine, slightly different ship, but very much the same vibe. But what's
Right.
cool is, I walked on the ship and right away they're like, "Okay, what's your name?" And then somebody took me, escorted me to my room and then
Yes.
did a room tour with me, which is
Nice.
which is a very cool thing. Not all the river cruise lines are going to do that.
Mhm.
A lot of them are, but this was a very nice experience that brought me straight to my room, which I had one of the one of those rooms where the window comes down.
Mhm.
Yeah, like an infinite
Infinite
balcony. I know they
veranda.
call it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was the kind of room that I had, and yeah, it was a really nice room.
So let's talk a little bit more about what I know it surprised you, but really the ship design. And tell me more about this indoor pool slash movie theater. River cruise ships don't have indoor pools. So if you're listening, Pizza Pals, this is something that really sets this apart.
Yes, so it's ridiculous, right? Like this is ridiculous. Okay, Emerald Cruise Lines, all of their river ships, I believe all of the river ships
Mm-hmm.
have this indoor pool. It's at the back of the ship,
Yes.
and what's really neat about this is oftentimes you're in Europe
Hmm.
And it's cold, it's
So,
rainy, there may be snow during
hmm,
you like everybody wants to go on
uh-huh.
a Christmas markets cruise.
Right.
Nobody wants to use the top deck pool during a Christmas markets cruise.
No,
I understand they're heated and stuff and whatever, but like
they're not that
yeah,
heated. Not
get
for
outside of
me.
that get outside of that pool and you're gonna freeze your butt off. So this is indoor climate control. They
Hmm.
actually I I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, but they can remove the top too, so that you are in like
Oh,
an
they can
outdoor
open the
space.
back of the ship up,
Yeah.
right?
So
Yeah.
if it is nice, like you can have that experience. But when
Yes.
it's crappy, like it is 6 months out of the year in Europe,
Hmm.
you could have this indoor space. Okay, that's the pool component. But the thing about it is like, when it gets to be nighttime or whatever, people aren't necessarily spending their time in the pool. It's kind of nice to be in the
Yes.
pool as you're floating down the river during the day or whatever.
Hmm.
But it gets to be nighttime, people go to the dining room, they get dressed for that or
Right.
whatever. They're not going to get back in their swimsuits, but what they can do is they
Hmm.
can go back to that pool room that they have completely transformed into a movie theater. And this is just what kind of tech did they do here? Like the floor
Yeah.
of the pool comes up and the water drains out. The water drains out the bottom and like yeah, they have to take like one of the squeegee things to like push the water away or whatever,
Squeegee it
but
off.
like
Yeah.
yeah, but like you're done and then a screen comes down and you're watching the Sound of Music as you're traveling through the territories where
Austria.
yeah, Austria
Yeah.
whatever where it was filmed it took place and stuff. So like
Yeah.
super cool way to like experience that movie or like that, just
Right.
it's wild. Like so I think the reason why I think this is so cool is because it's indicative
Hmm.
of the line, right? When
Right.
you're talking about okay, who does that appeal to? It doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily appeal to the person who is like 65 plus, retired, like that's going on a river
Hmm.
cruise that doesn't care about all those bells and whistles. But it does
Right.
appeal to people in their 30s and their 40s, which is why Emerald is
Yes.
so unique,
Hmm.
super unique.
Yes.
And then there's those youthful people that are retired that do love this too.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yep. So,
yeah.
like, as we're talking about the pool and you talk about kind of the client type that likes this and the vibe, let's get into more about the vibe and the actual experience on board the ship. So, like you said, this is a younger, it's a more active crowd than your typical river cruising. I'm going to insert here that I think with celebrity, this is also the crowd that they're coming for. Like, I think
Yeah.
celebrity is also going to be marketing to our 30 and 40-year-old clients that want to see Europe, that want to see all those things without going through the hassle of packing and moving and driving and all of this stuff. So, I think that this is going to be interesting to see how Emerald positions themselves with marketing against the bigger brand, honestly, of celebrity who's kind of going after the same client. What do you think about that, Ryan?
Celebrity, I believe,
Mhm.
is going to be bringing in. We should probably do a whole show about this, by the way.
We will.
But
We will.
celebrity, I think yes, they're probably hitting some of the same people,
Mhm.
but they're gonna bring people to river cruising
Right.
that had not
That have
even
never
previously
thought about
thought
it.
about.
Yes, I think
And
so
so
too.
I think that's a big differentiator. Celebrity Ocean does appeal
Mhm.
to retired folks, so I
Right.
think there's going to be some crossover there.
Sure.
But those
Okay.
ships are
Mhm.
also very tech forward and innovative.
Mhm.
So
Very sleek
there is
design.
some
Yep.
similarities. Now,
Yes.
I will say, I think Emerald is going to be priced a little lower than Celebrity.
The
They can put an itinerary up and it just sells out immediately because
right.
there's supply and demand. But
Mhm.
I do think Celebrity priced a little higher to begin with. But yeah,
Right.
I think Emerald, that's where, and we got to start talking about inclusions and non-inclusions and stuff like that.
Yes, let's do it.
Emerald's a really good value.
Mhm. It is.
So
I feel like it is for my clients as well. Let's talk about more of the experience on board. I know I kind of like took a side quest there to talk about that.
yeah.
Tell me about like some of the food offerings, especially the breakfast. I know you mentioned that we needed to talk about breakfast.
It's stupid. Like we're gonna, no matter where I go in this world, we're gonna have an episode of this podcast and we're gonna talk about the breakfast because like you don't have like a complete breakfast at home. At home, like you're lucky to get a
Hmm.
bagel or a pastry or something
Right.
on a
Overnight
good day.
oats.
On a bad day, it's overnight oats or a banana, right?
Yeah.
But when you go on vacation, I personally love a good breakfast. And
Hmm.
Emerald has a great one, and it's actually very similar to Scenic. So there'll be some overlap when we
All
talk
right.
about that. But you know, it's in the main dining room.
Hmm.
You can imagine in the middle there's like this horseshoe shaped buffet, but at the end of that there is a made to order omelet
Right.
station
Okay.
or fried eggs or whatever. But
Hmm.
here's the thing about this. People have probably been to the Windjammer on Royal Caribbean and they're like they've got to create your own omelet thing too, except there's 5,000 people ahead of you in that line to get
Yes.
your omelet made. It's not that you got one person who's doing made to
Hmm.
order eggs. They've got four frying pans. Don't
Hmm.
forget there's only 100 people on the ship.
Right.
You're not going to have to wait. You're going to say,
No.
here's what I want. Then you're going to walk around that buffet. You're going to put on your home fries and your bacon and all that kind of junk. And then you're going to, by the time you wrap back around, your toast has been toasted. You're going to get to that
Hmm.
omelet station and they're going to be like, yeah, it's been done for 3 minutes. Where have you been? So,
Where are
like,
you in?
yeah, so it's great.
Here.
It's a great place to like, meet up in the morning and talk about what you're
Hmm.
going to do that day.
Yeah.
I met somebody down there. We chatted about what they had planned for the day and what I had planned for the day, and you just kind of go on with it. So, so the breakfast set us up for a great day. Now, I didn't eat lunch and dinner on the ship
Hmm. On the
because
ship.
I was
Sure.
sampling the other ships during this part.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I did talk to some people that did, and they thought the food was great.
You know, the back end of the ship turning into a movie theater. But there's other entertainment included in Emerald's River Cruise experience. Tell us more about the other entertainment that they had on board.
Yeah. So when we talk about, it's easy to compare Emerald versus like one other line. But
Mhm.
when you compare against the entire market and you talk about entertainment, they are going to have more youthful entertainment than some of the
Mhm.
other lines that might just have like a solo pianist or something like that that's
Right.
playing. Emerald is going to have more lively, more youthful entertainment that
Mhm.
comes on, whether it's a certain like a three-piece band or something that's going to come on and play.
Okay.
It's still not going to have a casino. Like they don't have that type of
No.
entertainment on the
Mm-mm.
ship, but it is more youthful. There is going to be programming, like you might have,
Mhm.
stop in port. You're in port all day. They're going to probably bring somebody on to do some sort of demonstration,
Right.
whether that's stroop waffles or whatever.
Mhm.
I say demonstration. Really, they're just making food in the dining room. So it's great. Now the other thing is, I talked about when we started. You walk on the ship, and to the left is usually
Mhm.
the big lounge. Okay,
Mhm.
that is the case here. And in that lounge, in the back of the lounge, there is a big, also horseshoe shaped bar.
Ah,
And of course, we should talk about the bar service, which was good. The thing about it is like, so Emerald doesn't include drinks throughout your entire cruise, but
right.
they have a package which costs like $10 a day or something that
Oh,
you can
that's
add
nothing. Like
on.
you put add on.
It might be $20, but we're splitting hairs. Like,
Right.
it's not
At
that
that point, who
expensive.
cares, right?
Royal Caribbean is charging at least $90 a day
Hundred,
for their drink
yeah,
package. So it's
$100 a day
not,
plus. Mhm.
yeah, we're not in that stratosphere here.
Right.
If you want to drink outside of lunch and dinner, because they do include all that stuff at lunch and dinner.
Yes, they do.
When you're on a small river cruise ship like this, and Emerald delivered on this,
Mhm.
you walk up to the bar and there's somebody there to make you a drink. Like you're not waiting because
Mhm.
again, there's only 100 people on the ship or whatever. And during the expo specifically, there were times when that number would balloon up because Emerald had the party or whatever, right?
Right.
Well, the bar staff was able to you know,
Oh, I like
maintain their level
it.
of service during that time. So even at the
Yeah.
busiest of times, you're going to be just fine. They've got various levels of liquor and beer, and they usually always a couple
Mhm.
beers on tap and a bunch more down in their little cooler
Mhm.
and a good wine list. Yeah, very pleasing.
So we've talked about the entertainment, but we haven't really talked about the actual rooms yet. So we kind of glazed over the fact somebody took you and gave you a room tour. Tell me more about your room and the layout and how you felt there. I need to know if there was a robe.
You know what? I don't remember if there's a rope because here's the thing, I don't use them. So
This is
this
research I
is
have to do
that's
going on a
right.
river cruise without a
Okay. So the room is super comfortable. You have sort of you can in your mind you can imagine what the room looks like, right? I've got an infinite veranda on one side, the bed's sort of
Mhm.
in the middle. Opposite the bed is your little desk area. You've got a
Right.
closet that's sort of to the right as you walk in. The
Mhm.
bathroom is would be on the left if you walk in, but the door to the bathroom is kind of around next to the bed. Okay, so now you've got the layout of the room. I was as a solo traveler on the
Mhm.
River Cruise Expo portion, and I thought the room was great. I had like
Mhm.
no complaints about the room. But as I look at the room and I think about the fact that most people aren't traveling by themselves, there are definitely ways. We talked
Mhm.
about Coronado Springs and how this section, or it was a couple weeks ago, we talked about how this section was good for this type of traveler, and I said the tower is the only way to live. Well, I think that the same can be applied here. You really should
Mhm.
talk with somebody who's experienced these rooms to kind of guide your group and give you the right expectations about which
Right.
room you should choose. Um,
Mhm.
I think that my
Now,
room,
Ryan, you were in like what category room were you in? Remember,
oh
like,
my
was it? I mean, you had the
God,
infinite veranda, but that wasn't. You weren't in the highest level suite, correct?
it
And you
was
weren't
not
in
in the
like a
highest
duck
level suite.
room. You weren't in the
No,
duck view room, like no. So you were
yeah,
like mid category cabin,
right. There are balcony rooms that were higher
full
end
balcony.
than me,
Mm-hmm.
and there were suites that were higher end than me. I was sort of your
Okay.
normal level balcony room.
Right. Okay.
And the thing is, this room is perfect for solo. This room is
Okay.
also okay for like a couple as long
If
as
you
they
really love
understand.
your
It depends on like how your habits and
what
stuff, right?
kind,
Like because
yeah.
we're saying this because the bathroom is like located kind of close to the bed. So
Mhm.
it can be a little
It
weird,
is.
but
Let me set
but
this up for you.
it's even
The
worse though if
head, the head of the
it's even
bed,
yeah.
if you're like watching us on YouTube, like here is the bed. Your head is right here, and mere inches from your head is the door to the bathroom directly to the toilet
Yeah.
commode. So I think this is where they really throw me because if you're not a couple that does their business with the door open, you may want to upgrade yourself
Yeah,
to
and I think that
another level of a room. Yeah.
that's why you've got to talk to
Right.
Stephanie and I ahead of time so that we can say this is the way the room is. If you're okay with
Mhm.
that, then who cares? If you've been warned about it, then at least you know what you're going into.
Mhm.
For a solo person, it's great. I'll tell you who it's never going to be good for though is two solos that are rooming together.
Friends. Yeah. Uh-uh.
No, it's not. There are
Right.
rooms that are great for that. You
Mhm.
just if you're going to be splitting with a friend, you go to the next one up because
Mhm.
you've got more space and the bathroom door isn't right there. But
Yeah.
if you imagine like it's a little awkward, maybe even for a married couple. Well, if you split those beds, the bed's even closer to the door. So like
Mhm.
you just got to know that stuff. So now you do.
Now we do.
It
Do
applies to
you
like I was saying before at the beginning, like it's a younger audience for this cruise, so
Mhm.
it's perhaps not the people that are getting up to go to the bathroom every 20 minutes at night, but waking each other up.
I don't know.
But
I don't know about
yeah,
that. Ryan's not quite as old as me.
ah, just a couple years.
Guys, as we're talking about cabin layout, so important depending on what kind of group you're traveling with or who you're traveling with. And that is why you need to book with a professional like Ryan and I. Like Ryan said, you need to talk to somebody who has been on these ships, who have seen these rooms, who have had the thought process, how does this work for my client? So this is where I'm going to remind you Ryan and I are travel advisors. We specialize in making sure that you are booked in the right cruise line, the right cabin type. And guess what? We do this all at no cost to you. And now it's time for a little note from our sponsor, which is also us. And we're going to do Ryan's Crusty review, but I'm actually going to take over Ryan's Crusty review today.
I think
So
that
we
it's
are,
good though, because we've been talking about Europe and rivers and all that stuff. Let's give the people a break and let's bring them back to the Midwest of the US. And why don't you give us some crusty review stuff?
I'm going to bring you back to the rainy, cold Midwest. Wah, wah, wah. But we had an experience just recently and we wanted to try something new. And we were over in St. Louis near the ballpark. They have this whole ballpark village. It is a place where a lot of people are, if you're coming to St. Louis for any reason, you're going to try to go to Busch Stadium and go see the ballpark because it's really, really cool. And if you get lucky enough, hit a game there. The Cardinals are not the greatest, but go for bacon wrapped hot dogs and maybe go to stop at this bacon wrapped hot dogs.
Like
It's a thing.
two
It's
terrible
amazing.
foods that make them two terrible foods that make them worse.
No, I'm telling you what, it's the thing. It's the only reason I go to the book
You
for the
put bacon
games.
and hot dogs on a pizza, I'm out. I'm out.
No, we're not going to do all that. Right
Okay.
across the street in Ballpark Village is this place called Katie's. Now, what they're known for, fresh made pasta and wood fired pizza. And, it's kind of like this higher level, it's not your normal average pizza place. Like this was, pizza and wine vibe, right? Like we're a little
Got
bit
it.
more
Yeah, yeah.
elevated than,
No root
Joe's
beers
down the
or
street.
draft beers were harmed
Yeah,
during
yeah.
this meal.
I have feelings about pizza just like Ryan. And if you are going to make a pizza and try to make it elevated, make it special somehow. This pizza had no flavor whatsoever. Like none. I was horrified. I could have lived with the crust. The crust was not bad. You get to the sauce, and I got just like a traditional margarita pizza. Eva got a pepperoni pizza, and my older daughter, Holly, got like honey hot pizza. So it was like the pepperoni with like the hot honey. Literally, Eva's pizza was okay. My margarita pizza, it had no flavor whatsoever. So you really have to be careful here because you need all of these very simple ingredients to make somebody go, wow. And I don't know where they missed putting maybe some salt, some basil, something
This is the
on
worst
this
crusty
pizza.
review of ever.
I know.
It was
And
still there.
and the crust, like I said, the crust was solid. It was wood fired. It came out pretty quickly, but overall everything we tried like was just less than what I would have expected once you walked into the place and kind of seen the vibe. I was thinking, "Oh, this is going to be good." No. No, it's not.
Would you go back?
Um nope, I would not go back.
Okay. I got
For
that.
the it's a nice dining experience. Staff was good and all that. So, we're going to give them points for that and I'll say a 4 out of 8 tops.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Be a 3. Like skip Katie's and get the bacon wrapped hot dogs.
Let's dig out of this. We got a bad pizza experience. Let's get back to Europe.
So let's get back to out of the Midwest. Let's get back to Europe. Let's talk more about this. Tell me, I talked about what was included, which was like just straight vibes and service in my pizza. What was included on this Emerald ship?
What's included with your cruise fare is obviously going to be your taxes, your port charges, those fees. That's not the part that we're really talking about though. Wi-Fi across the board is going to be included, so you don't have to worry about,
Yeah.
buying a Wi-Fi package or upgrading anything like that. It's Starlink, so it's the best that's
Hmm.
available that you're going to have. You're going to get more than one excursion choice per port, which is different than some other river cruise lines. You do get multiple options. They do have some, like, if you need to get the bougie excursion, they're going to have a couple of those. So you've got those. They've got e-bikes that you can take out when you're in port, and that's all free and included. The other thing that I think is this is important is that you can tip anybody you want, but they will
Mm.
never ask you on Emerald or Scenic. It is
Okay.
gratuities are included for your room attendants, for the bar
Hmm.
staff, for the wait staff.
Everybody.
And this one is important because I don't think a lot of people understand this. It's included for your guides on excursion too. So
Oh, well, that's nice.
gratuities are totally included. Of course, also your meals. So yeah, that's your inclusions.
Was there anything that was not included that you feel like, oh, wait a minute, I thought this would be included? Or you didn't feel like nickel and
No.
dimed at all? You felt like it was all
If you're going to spend money on the ship, it's going to be like those bougie excursions I was talking about, and then also there's a gift
right.
shop and there's a spa.
Maybe a spa treatment.
Yeah, those are your only options to spend money.
That's nice to know.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little bit because, Emerald, Ryan got to experience both of those. We're going to go into more about Scenic on the next episode. So stay tuned for that. But this is more of Scenic's kind of one level below. Instead of being ultra luxury, this is a premium river cruise brand.
Yes.
Did you feel like this would be a great deal for your client?
I think that the price point is going to be perfect for like a first time river cruise person.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, you will probably find less expensive river cruises. It's not the
Right.
bottom of the barrel, and it's not trying to be. It is a
Mm-hmm.
premium experience, usually at a
Right.
lower cost,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when you wrap in the inclusions. So I think it is a great product for a first time river cruiser, especially if they're like just coming into the river cruise market and they're a little bit younger and they want a more
Mm-hmm.
lively atmosphere for all the reasons we talked about. They've got the e-bikes, they've got a little bit better entertainment, and you can spend the $10 to $20 on the drink package and get that included all day long and drink to your heart's content.
So let's talk about some of the things travelers might need to know. Like, what are some mistakes you think that people would make choosing Emerald? Like, they've got this in their head, they choose Emerald. They haven't worked with us, or we would tell them all
Yeah.
these. So let's just tell them
Yeah.
now, you know, what do you
They
need
need
to know?
I think room selection is important. We've
Hmm.
talked about it. You know, what
Yeah.
you need to know, you really need to know the layouts, and it helps to talk to one of us. The second thing is like this is not a butler situation. You don't have that
Right.
on Emerald. It's like it's not the ultra luxury, it's premium. But yes,
Hmm.
you do need to go to the bar to get your drink. You can't just order it.
Right. So, price point wise, Emerald sits kind of in the middle. And we would compare this maybe to like an AmaWaterways brand. How do they compare to Viking with pricing? Just this
I
is a
think they'll
side.
be a little higher than
Hmm.
Viking, a little lower than AmaWaterways, but
Okay.
AmaWaterways also doesn't include gratuity. So you
Right.
got to keep that in mind that you're getting the
Hmm.
gratuity included with Emerald. And then a lot of
Do
the
you
entertainment
think
and things are going to be very
uh
similar.
this, I think, is where Emerald starts to stand out, is all that's included for the price point that you're at, which is, like you said, not the bottom level, but again, they're not nickel and diming you because there's a lot included in that price, correct? Um, and for first time travelers, maybe their first time on a river cruise that are used to ocean cruising, this could be a really good brand to start with
Yeah.
because of those inclusions.
Everybody gets off Emerald and says it's fun. I think it's part of this like liveliness. The cruise directors are more fun. It's less stuffy. It's just
Hmm.
a fun place to be. So
Right.
yeah, for a first time river cruiser, perfect because it has those
Hmm.
elements. Yeah.
And like we've said several times, the younger crowd. So is there anybody you think that should absolutely not book on Emerald?
High end luxury clients should book Scenic
Hmm.
or
Okay.
Uniworld or something. Yeah.
Right.
But entry level is perfect. Entry
Hmm.
to premium. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I think we said last week, there is no like non-luxury river cruise. Like that doesn't exist.
Guys, that is our take on Emerald as a river cruise brand and a little bit about Ryan's, personal experience, why he stayed with them during the ASTA River Cruise. Next week, we continue talking about river cruising the whole month of May. So don't miss it. We are going to talk about Scenic. And Ryan did a post fam on Scenic.
Yeah, I had pizza almost every day, so get ready
It was the
for it.
vacation of his dreams. Ryan,
Yeah,
I know where I'm not going for dinner tonight, and that will be Katie's. But I've got to ask you, what are you having for dinner tonight?
part of me thinks that this Katie's needs an independent review. Stephanie's was so rough, but I am most likely going to a new restaurant that opened up across town called Maggie McFly's, and I will
Mm,
see how their pizza is. They have like one of those
sounds great.
enormous menus, but there's like a whole two
Ah,
pages of pizza.
oh,
Give
nice.
it a shot.
Lots of
Yeah.
options.
hmm hmm
He's not going to be getting pineapple.
No, no, no.
All right, guys. Why Ryan's busy not ordering pineapple on his pizza. Remember, keep traveling the world.
One slice at a time.
We'll see you next
Bye.
week. Have a good week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.